Hey, look, this is the porch in the back of my shed where I have read a lot of my poems. And it's a nice day out here. I've been posting poetry about farming, but then the past 2 or 3 poems I've posted online are about they're about the arts. I've noticed that if you have a pop culture reference or you make a reference to a celebrity or TV show, the poem gets old really fast. I mean, if the poem is 2 or 3 years old, and my poems about the arts are I didn't write them yesterday. They're kind of old, and so these cultural references, some of the people I refer to maybe are totally forgotten by the time you hear these things. That's kind of a problem. But if you maybe instead of thinking of the poem as referring to pop culture, you could think of it as a historical reference. Yeah, that's it.
Hello, my name is Paul, for those of you who don't know me in the class, which is all of you. But I'm here to tell you about literary devices and why you need to understand how someone uses them as tools to influence your understanding of a piece of work or the way you think about something in general. These little devices aren't just found in some dead guy's poetry like Shakespeare or a question on a test. Literary devices are all around you. They're a part of pop culture. There are music, TV shows, and movies. Don't believe me? Well, I've come up with some examples to illustrate my point. Hopefully after seeing them, you'll be more aware of them and the things you like, and in turn, making it easier for you to recognize and analyze them for, I don't know, maybe a paper, a quiz, or a test, which is coming after this video. So let's get to it. First of all, there's alliteration. You might be familiar with this little ditty. Peter Pepper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Impressive, I know, but that's alliteration. It's any time there's repetition of the initial consonant. There should be at least 2 repetitions in a row. Let's check out this example from the clip.
That's why my friends in school used to call me the G.
That's funny. I thought they called you Big Head Burton.
Don't you ever say that name. I know it was you that started that.
I'm sorry, Gus. I have a knack for alliteration. I'm a slave to it. Besides, how many words start with B, really?
About 1,000? How about bold, black, beautiful?
Who's gonna call you Black Burton?
You get my point, Sean.
All right.
Illusion. No, I'm not talking about the thing you see at a magic show. It's any reference to a famous person or event in life or literature.
Smalls, you mean to tell me that you went home and swiped a ball that was signed by Babe Ruth, and you brought it out here and actually played with it?
Yeah, but I was gonna bring it back.
But it was signed by Babe Ruth!
Yeah, you keep telling me that. Who is she?
Smalls, Babe Ruth is the greatest baseball player that ever lived. I mean, people say he was less than a god, but more than a man.
Then there's foreshadowing. It gives you a hint as to what's going to happen next. Check out this example.
To the computer!
So, you're sure this is safe?
Don't worry. I have a dangerometer that lets us know if the food is going to overmutate.
Well, what happens if the food overmutates?
I don't know. But that'll never happen.
Hyperbole is possibly the most significant literary device of all time. Well, maybe not, but it is a figure of speech involving an exaggeration.
They all paid first semester's tuition?
Oh yeah, $10,000 a piece. I stopped counting after the first 100 checks.
That's $74 million.
It's $1 million, Glenn.
Yeah, in human dollars.
Okay, we gotta do something.
Now there's metaphor, which is a comparison in which one thing is said to be another.
Shot me out of the sky. You're my kryptonite. You keep making me weak. Yeah, frozen and can't breathe.
Onomatopoeia. Not only is it fun to say, but it's the use of words to imitate the sounds they describe. In the words of the great chef, Emeril Lagasse, bam. Personification is giving human-like qualities to animals or objects.
Hey guys.
You ask me over and over and over. Have you seen my peacock-feathered hat?
Frogs? Taught them everything they know.
Now there's simile, a figure of speech involving comparisons between unlike things using like, as, or as though. Well, that covers some of the major literary devices that you'll come across. So next time you have to analyze a passage, ask yourself, why did this person choose to use this device? How does it enhance the message they're trying to get across? Think about these examples we went over today, and pay attention the next time you're watching TV or a movie. The more you practice, the easier it will come to you when you need it.
You may have gathered from the introduction that I write about historical things. I guess I'm a poster child for arts and ed, addressing history through the arts. My students at the MCI Framingham prison right now are writing a research paper about August Wilson's play Fences as a historical document, documenting African-American life in the mid-20th century. So I'm just singing the song, doing the doctrine. Thank you. My poem is called Anthem, and it might be a case of recent American history through poetry. When you overhear a familiar song by Elvis on the radio of the vintage hot rod Ford that some stoned tool and die maker with red eyes shaded by wraparound sunglasses drives up and down the dull main street of his old hometown of Altoona, Pennsylvania, or Vinita, Oklahoma, on vacation from his nightmares of battles in Vietnam, long after his sideburns and ponytail have grayed, and the tattoos of the flag, the motto, and the pinup girl above and below the slightly arthritic elbow that he rests on the sill of the rolled-down window in Decatur, Alabama, or Barstow, California, have been rendered illegible, warped, torn, and frayed by the drying of certain subcutaneous tissues and the subsequent wrinkling of his freckled flesh. Then you might wonder, stopping to watch him pass and recognizing a classic like Heartbreak Hotel or Jailhouse Rock coming out of the window like a bat right out of hell that only he can know, with a billow of smoke from his unfiltered Camel. Then you might wonder whether everyone in the country could just stop fighting now, gather on dance floors all over this enormous country, in Topeka, Kansas, Anchorage, Alaska, or Rome, Georgia, twisting and shouting again to a tune as famous in the islands of Hawaii and the Ozarks of Missouri as in the plains of Texas and the Cumberlands of Kentucky. Something frivolous, light and fluffy, but precise, charmed, and catchy like Tutti Frutti, That's All Right, or My Baby Left Me, to bring us all together and disturb the staid tranquility of the shopkeeper's street in Wahoo, Nebraska, and St. Augustine, Florida, but also to numb the pain of the irritating hemorrhoids he exacerbates by spending so much of his free time in the driver's seat of one of the several vintage automobiles he keeps in his big garage. A bucket seat that fits his lazy ass so perfectly, like a throne does the king's, in his hippie town in Vermont, his crab town in Maryland, his lumber town in Oregon, or his lobster port in Maine. The cherry red 69 Thunderbird convertible, the forest green 67 white walled Galaxy, or the white 65 8-barrel Mustang, 4 on the floor with a pebble black roof and the 4 fine doors. Thank you.